The college baseball season has finally reached its apex. As the college football playoffs and March Madness have produced, we get another high-stakes, high-salt conclusion to yet another sport. The women of softball produced some high-class madness, with the conclusion of that coming in the form of the fighting scared of a hen signal Longhorns winning the title. All the more reasoning to cry about SEC bias in the sports world. That aside though, welcome to Omaha, the only place in Nebraska where good sports are seen. For many of the participants in this tournament, it's the last fight for survival until next year, as even though the next bout of football is in 12 weeks, their college football team has the productivity of a sandpaper condom. Most of us never lived to see a World Series this different from the last, as no team from the previous round of Omaha made it to this one. Additionally, 7 different conferences are being repped in this tournament. I'll give you one guess and one guess only as to who the only conference with 2 would be. At this point, the only thing that awaits these teams is the agony of coming up short, the glorification of victory, or nothing at all because the fans passed out from too many jello shots. I'd argue those odds matter more than the championship ones do. Let's see which programs managed to survive and thrive up till now. And they said you were in sports purgatory. Finally, you'll be remembered for something, or you can be remembered for something. The fact that you even made it here is an accomplishment in itself. Between the regular season fall-off, the swift death in the ACC tournament, and the draw you got in the regional, it's hard to predict anyone thought you'd make it past all the opposition. Not that anyone could complain about that, since your appearance here means Vandy managed to once again choke on a historic level with the #1 overall seed in their hands. Even in baseball, they're the poster child of disappointment. Whistle your ass back home, please. Once the Commodores were out of contention, it was smooth sailing to the Final 8. Miami gave you some trouble, but then they remembered they were Miami, so that worked itself out. In regards to who you have at your disposal, make way for the king, as they say, as Eddie King Jr. is no doubt the fire to burn the rest of the competition. He's one of the hottest players still in the running and mixes well with the more defensive reflection of him and Patrick Forbes. They are a balanced squad with the firepower and resilience to rival all who dare throw down the bats with them. With the mastermind of Dan McDonnell and the group of rooftop frat boys, this team has been a hard one to shut down in crunch time and will be a dominant force to contend with. The only question that remains is whether or not the king can take the throne as well. Either way, not only is Louisville rising up as a powerhouse in baseball, they are beginning to take control in the state of football too. Kentucky football hasn't seen days as bad as this one since the last time they played. Being a stagnant lot of nothingness in football, it's about time the baseball team made a return to the baseball realm. It's their first time back in the spotlight since they took the trophy back home in 2018. With no conference to call home this season, they had to go the Notre Dame route and declare their independence in conference play for a year. Which, if the Irish taught you anything, just pick and choose which piles of doo-doo to beat up on and you'll be fine and dandy in the postseason. Said position was hosting their own regional, and since they aren't Vanderbilt, they took care of business after losing their first game. They were thought to be cooked when down against Florida State, but then...
In the air, center field, that'll win it for the Beavers. Instead, it's walked off Florida State to take game 1.
Solo cup action from the Noles once again. Expect a lawsuit in the impending days. Separation from their Pac-12 brethren might have been the right move for the time being, as now they find themselves a couple wins away from destiny. A team as heavy loaded as they are on offense is more than likely to get hot at the right time. Units Iva Arquette, major leader of the offense, and Gavin Turley, who broke the school record for career home runs, are likely to find their stride here in Omaha. Either you'll limp to the dumpster due to stagnation, or you'll cause the heat death of the universe. I've seen every possible outcome and I won't be shocked by any of them. But what you're looking at is the type of team to be down until the 9th inning where they'll bullshit their way to a W. The fans have acknowledged this fact, with Beer Can Mountain being clear enough evidence as to the way their team makes them feel. It'd be wise to use some of that drinking power for jello shots, but who am I to talk? Beer tastes like piss and I've never even bothered to try a jello shot. Maybe I'm just bad at living. Though the transition from Pac-12 to Big 12 was the worst thing to ever happen to this program on the football field, the baseball team accelerated their program's success. I guess it's a fair trade-off since their brother won the conference in football. Chip Hale had little difficulty blitzing through the competition that the Big 12 presented. Additionally, they brought upon yet another troll job for North Carolina, as if their other sports programs hadn't brought enough trolling by simply hiring Belichick to be the football coach. After losing the first game by 16 runs, the Wildcats came out like a completely different squad the following game. Thus, death for the Tar Pits.
Swung on and missed.
Following yet another embarrassment by Tank Conference and yet another ballsy performance from star elite Mason White, the Wildcats have once again returned to Omaha, a familiar position to find themselves in considering the history behind this program. Must be satisfying considering everyone expected UNC's return. After all though, Hale knows at least one thing about winning in Omaha. They'll be bringing with them this coach along with White, who will be one of the biggest individual threats in the entire Legion. He's the Clemson among the other ACC teams, the unit far above the rest. Casey Hintz, Gary Hicks, and Tony Pluto bring their own advantages to the roster, but White is the guy they'll likely be leaning on for their trip to the World Series. But I think we're all of the same consensus. At a high capacity, they are absolutely a strong force to be reckoned with and will be as scary as James Madison is to Mac Brown. However, in the situation Mason White loses his stride, quite the surprise, but certainly a welcome one. First-year head coaches don't usually have a run near this good in their first year of coaching, but Kevin Schnall was indeed one of the rare exceptions to the rule. Coastal Carolina did to the Sun Belt opposition like I do at an all-you-can-eat biscuit buffet. Absorption of the entire conference. Speaking of biscuits, with a guy like Caden Bojangles on the roster, it's hard to piss the season away. With a pitching game as strong as his, it's been near impossible for anyone to get the jump on them. He's the perfect mix of offensive and defensive productivity that he himself can likely beat Vanderbilt in this tournament. Add this fact onto the rest of the team following suit and living up to their talent, it's proof that the group of five actually matters in baseball. They're one of the hottest teams in the country with a 23-game winning streak and no signs of slowing down. After skull-dragging their regional competition and contributing to Auburn's usual sports cuck chair, the Chanticleers are one of the most dangerous forces if they keep the fire high. Been a while since their last appearance, so we'll find out real fast if they remember the feeling of being an underdog the right way, or if the lights are too bright. They've got the consistency and the talent part down, now it's the prevent James Franklining it up part that they must master. Potential bow time awaits. They'll have their own fan base among a shit ton of others on their side, because who dislikes Coastal Carolina fans? Do they even have fans? Make yourself known in the comments so I know I'm not just talking to a brick wall. I'm going to attempt to keep my personal biases aside, considering that the Nico trade is still fresh on my mind. But despite that, UCLA has undergone a serious character arc over the season. Being liquid ass last year, it was unclear whether or not they'd be anything even close to tournament material this go-around. However, they wound up surpassing the expectations of the 12 UCLA sports fans. Thus, for the first time since they hoisted the big trophy, they are back in Omaha. Not sure where this was last year, but at least they showed up at some point. Ohio State is still flexing their football title in retrospect. UCLA is a jack-of-all-trades type of team, being great enough at every position to win it all. Perhaps their best weapon is the Big Ten Player of the Year and Rock Chalosky. Death for all who oppose this individual. The team and program overall lie on the back of him in whatever he does on the day-to-day basis. Him going to the grocery store for eggs is impactful to UCLA's eminent history. One of the team's most crucial weapons just so happens to be the clutch factor, as they have had 17 come from behind victories this season. Michael Barnett has been a major reason for this, as he is better at closing out games than most. Through these players and their unbridled discipline, and also partly due to Texas still not being back, the Bruins were able to get through the Super Regionals over UTSA and rise to the big dance. John Savage has a statement to prove, and as the one and only rep of the Big Ten, I'd certainly hope that 8-figure capital deal isn't in vain. Nico sucks! Everyone loves a good underdog story, and if dodgeball has taught us anything, it's common nature to want to root for the one with the lowest odds. The ones who have found themselves in said position is none other than Murray State, the fourth ever 4 seed to make it to the College World Series. You'd have to go all the way back to 2003 to find their last appearance in the tournament. You'd have to go all the way back to Oregon's last football national title to find their appearance in the College World Series. Get it? Because Murray State never made the College World Series. You'd think their shot is unlikely, but as we all know, doubting an underdog in any situation is enough to turn you into a clown. Especially with the likes of a team as superpowered offensively as Murray State. Jonathan Hogarth's arm alone should put the fear of the baseball gods into the higher echelon teams here. With over 20 home runs, he's already tied the program record for single-season homers. Guys like Carson Garner and Luke Mistone are additional weapons to the already loaded arsenal. Being the auto bid from a conference you'll likely forget the moment I say it, the Racers wound up being in an unpleasant spot they somehow managed to come out of mostly unscathed. On top of that, thanks to the second major Duke choke job in the year of 2025, the Racers found themselves on top of the Super Regionals as well. They've scored 8 or more runs in 6 of the 7 tournament games they've played, so don't be shocked if they do it again. The ones who aren't rooting for Coastal Carolina are certainly rooting for the Racers to win it all, because it's the only result that'll make everyone happy. It's their best season of all time, so don't be shocked if it continues. Just keep a close eye on John Morant. Ah, shit, you're back. I mean, most of us expected this outcome, but why did it have to be you? Your greed knows no bounds, I guess, considering you won the title only 2 years ago. Many of us missed it back when you were stuck in rebuilding year hell, but welcome back nonetheless. Ranked second in the SEC at 19-11, LSU under Coach Jay Johnson looks loaded, especially in pitching and returning power bats. In fact, some of these players have actual experience on the big stage and know a thing or two about how to perform. Well, they don't have Livy Dunn's boyfriend anymore, a loaded transfer portal class and talent they already have make up for it. Cade Anderson, Chase Shores, Anthony Anson, Josh Pearson, the list goes on. They are lethal in the sense that if any of these guys go off, it could be what breaks the back of many of the teams here. They weren't viewed as one of the top teams in the country for nothing after all. I mean, think about what they did over the regular season. Non-con play was a non-factor thanks to the different leagues principle, and once the tournament was upon them, it was more business as usual. West Virginia tried to take them down, but LSU's early cucking in the SEC tournament shut down any idea that the Mountaineers could catch them at a bad time. The Tigers have everything and everyone they need to retake the throne, and to top it all off, they don't have Brian Kelly, worthy of playing neck for. The Jello Guzzlers will be taken to the odds they have to win the shot contest, and something tells me they'll dominate that. What better way for them to celebrate Mardi Gras? This has to be it, right? This has to be the year that it finally all comes together. Years and years of playing baseball, and despite your success, especially in recent memory, you have a whopping 0 national titles to your name in the sport. Considering this is what your fans care about more than anything today, as Twitter tells us, I'm not shocked that they have the highest odds to win the whole thing. Analysts have been brainwashed in the big-time Kool-Aid, and I can't lie in saying that I am very intrigued to see if they can finally defeat their demons. They've got a team stacked enough to do the deed, as Wahiwa Aloy won different leagues Player of the Year through several conference ass-whoopings. His little brother, Kahio, along with Brent Iredell and Zach Rue, are players that have gotten their swagger at the right time. Hell, 7 players have 10 home runs and 6 are batting over 300. They are a team poised enough to survive and thrive as their regional and super regional games have shown. Creighton was lightweight to the Piggies of Walmart, and additionally, behold the reason I am chronically depressed. Say what you will about us, but we defeated our demons last season. Now it's your turn, because if online debates have taught the Piggies anything, the season is null if you don't actually win the title. Dave Van Horn is due for at least one, right? He's allegedly considering retirement after all. Arkansas fans haven't helped anyone root for them, especially this guy, who's so good at rage baiting I thought he was Kirk Herbstreit briefly. All that aside though, they are either bringing home the bacon or becoming it. Plan accordingly for either result. As of me posting this video, it's only a day's wait for the big dance to come, and the baseball gods have served us with some incredible matches to start. The Bojangles Biscuits versus the Mason White Merchants, the one-year Independents battling against the highlight of Tank Conference, the Capital Deal up against America, and lastly, a hand-picked bracket everyone loves, an SEC cockfight where one gets sent to the loser's bracket automatically. The loser of this game will probably lose all will to live, and one will play for the national title, because that's how it always works at the end of the day. Which is why I'm looking at Coastal Carolina and LSU to face off for the national title game. A real David versus Goliath classic here, which I'm sure everyone will get the desired result they've always been wanting. If not, then fear not, because football's only 12 weeks away, where more suffering is due for just about everyone. Expect the Arkansas fans to be missing from the banter. Power to Tardaria!
Brett Caraway is singled and walked. And a drive! Way back! Going and left! Grand slam, Oregon State!